Alright, so Thoughts to Ponder is a variety show, and the views expressed are not necessarily those of your girl Tamara Dawn. I created this show so that I can include the listeners, have y'all be a part of the show, and then I'm going to throw in a little razzle-dazzle for good measure. Episodes are going to air every other Monday, so make sure you still tune in every Thursday so you can hop on my train of thought. Make sure y'all also check out them podcast recommendations in the episode notes, and shout out to Sniper T for this beat. His information can be found there as well. So now that I got all that out the way, let's get it. What up though? Welcome to the very first episode of Thoughts to Ponder. And this episode is brought to you by the letters T, F, and I for the Twitter, the Book of Faces, and the Gram, Instagram. So, I did a poll on all three of those social media sites. Asked the same question on every poll. Is cheating a choice or is cheating a mistake? Did you make that choice or did you make that mistake? And before we get all off into the episode, I definitely want to start out by thanking everybody who participated, specifically the people who participated in the poll, because I don't even know who did. I don't know you by name, but if you're listening, I really do appreciate you because I love that data as well as the comments and the rationale why. I'm going to give a disclaimer. There were a few people who said yay or nay, but they didn't tell me why. So unfortunately, I'm not going to give you a shout out. Love you, appreciate you, but I did put that disclaimer out there that I wanted you to back that thing up, whatever your opinion may be, you know? So, without further ado, let's go ahead and go to the gram. So, 26 people voted, right? And 92% of them 26 people said that it's a choice. And the comments that I got on there, Miss Anita said, God gives us free will. Everything is a choice, especially for the mentally sane, capable people. We are responsible to choose what we think, what we believe, what we accept, and what we participate in. It may be a mistake if and when you realize you are wrong. And also, on the gram, 222 Voo Crew, that's the homegirl Lindsay though, she said both. Cheating can be a mistake, but it's still a choice, just a bad one. Miss Jessica, that's her name on Instagram, said cheating is 100% a choice. That person may have gotten caught up into it unexpectedly or was something they thought started out innocently, but at the end of the day, they made the choice to follow through. Whether or not they felt it was a mistake after the fact doesn't change that they still made the choice. And let me just say right now, I like to be dramatic at times. So just because there's an inflection in my voice or whatever, it doesn't mean that I necessarily agree or disagree. It's just I don't want it to be just reading because this is not school. Low key, I used to want to be an actress at some point. I never pursued it. I'm totally lying, but I just like to be silly. So, my big cousin Carletta said, it's the choice you made to disrespect and break the trust of your significant other. A mistake is taking the wrong keys off the table due to rushing, mistaking the time or date of something, you entertaining the opposite sex, sneaking text, having sex on the side, lying to the one you love in order to execute the dirty is a choice, not a mistake. Now, when you get caught, that's when it's a mistake. So, shout out to the Instagram supporters. Now, before we get off into the Book of Faces, why don't we go ahead and define cheating? Because if you pay attention, you know I like to define things, make sure we're all on the same page, make sure that, you know, we really know what it means. So, I chose some of my favorite definitions from dictionary.com, so you can go there if you want to see some others. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all know what cheating is, but I still like to look words up regardless. So, cheating is defined as, which it's a verb, meaning it's something that you're taking action in, to defraud, swindle, to deceive, influence by fraud, to violate rules or regulations. So, if you pay attention to the theme, and this was a theme in all the definitions, the common denominator in all that is deception. Decepticons were the evil transformers that were trying to trick you. Deception. So, let's go ahead and go to Facebook. Regular Facebook, and then we'll go into the messages I have. So, never would this... Technical difficulties. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, well then we'll just do the messages first because I'm already here for some reason. So, this person wanted to remain anonymous. He said, my answer is both. Everything is a choice, even to the point of intoxication. Our choices may be mistakes after hindsight, but they are choices made nevertheless. There's both positive and negative manifestations, the vibe you create. I believe this is the factor of it being a mistake or not. Are you better or worse off as a whole, considering others are also a part of you? Thank you for that. And the next one, who also would like to remain anonymous, and she actually gave some articles to kind of support her theory as well. So I will put those in the episode notes if you're interested in learning more about what she has to say. So she said that as per cheating as a choice, generally I would say for neurotypical individuals, yeah, it's a choice and a conscious decision they're making to participate in any sexual act with anyone other than your agreed partner. However, for those people who have or have experienced hypersexuality as a response to a negative trigger, an imbalance in hormones, or a disruption to your typical neural pathways, it's legit not something you can help. Hypersexuality as a byproduct of a mental health issue isn't just about impulse control or thinking things through. Your body, mind, and soul literally cannot move on with itself until that sexual act is completed. It's not even about physical touch, someone special, or getting off. It's about not knowing any other way to reset your brain to get it back on the right track. Sometimes you aren't even aware of what you're doing until you wake up mentally 20 minutes afterwards and you're like, what the F did I just do? So like I said, there's some articles that will be in the episode notes that she gave. Moving on to Facebook. Alright, so Jontea said it's a choice. You have an option to walk away and you're choosing not to. Nobody is forcing you to partake in those activities, even if someone makes the first move on you. If you let it happen without attempting to stop it or remove yourself from the situation, you making that choice to cheat. I don't like using drugs or alcohol as an excuse either. Regardless of how distorted your mind is at the moment, you're still aware of your relationship. So, Brandon said it's both. You're choosing a mistake and you're choosing to be disloyal. If things aren't working out, leave. Cheating is betrayal. I can't even be homies with people who cheat. Of course, he don't sound like that, but you know. Nicole said it's a choice. It's thought out. Clearly, if you cheat on your mate, you are aware that there are issues in your relationship. If those issues exist, then we need to speak to our mate. I personally do not believe you can cheat on someone who you are truly in love with. Who knows? Maybe you can. However, it is extremely selfish to think of yourself instead of how this will affect your mate. Before I make a move, I think, how would he feel about this? Would I lose him over this? And am I okay with that? Ty Glenn said it's a choice, because you could have been loyal and you chose to be disloyal. Carissa said, people make mistakes, but it's still a choice. I think it can be both, majority choice. Sean Weaver, and I'm giving his first and last name because he wanted me to promote his live Facebook vlog walk and talk. So go ahead and give him a follow or friend him or whatever on Facebook if you're interested in that. And he said it is a choice. Even mistakes are a choice, whether conscious or subconscious. We choose a lot based on how we feel and what makes us feel better in the moment, not thinking of the aftermath or damage that will occur based on that choice. This is where wisdom comes in handy and a biblical understanding. Okay? Cherie said it's a choice. Life is all about choices. We choose to follow Jesus or follow Satan. We choose life or we choose death. We choose righteousness or we choose sin. Life is all about choice. Kenyatta said a choice and a mistake. A mistake is defined as an action or judgment that is misguided or wrong. 99.9% of the things we do are choices that we make. So we choose to cheat, but it's still a mistake because it is a misguided action, a wrong choice. Kirsten said, I think initially it's a choice and then it becomes a mistake once you regret it and feel bad about your choice. Ellie the author said, that ain't what her name is on Facebook, but she is an author. She said, I believe cheating is a choice. Because you're making a decision to go with what feels good, is shiny brand new in the moment over what you've built and put time into. Jamie, and she is my nail escape on Instagram, super dope nail tech. She said it's a choice. Alcohol is not an excuse, okay? Oh, I added the okay. There's no excuse for cheating. Also, cheating is so much more than sex. If you lack basic self-control, you need to work on you before commending anyone, boo-boo. I added boo-boo as well. Sharina said choice, period. Whether you regret it later or not, you know exactly what you're doing when you're doing it and why it is wrong. Vonnie Von said, I think that it becomes a mistake when you learn from it. But until you learn from it, it's a choice. Learning from it equals changed behavior. And last but not least on Facebook, Shauna said hashtag choice, and she did put the hashtag. I ain't add that in. It's only a mistake because they got caught. It takes far too much advanced planning for it to be an accident. Then you have to master plan the lies to cover it up so your spouse doesn't find out. The I'm sorry which come when you made a mistake only comes because you got caught. So thank you, all my Facebook Book of Faces participators. So, like I said, the article's reference will be in the episode notes. And, deception, Decepticons, that is the major theme of cheating. So, speaking of deception, all right, now, I'm about to take y'all on it's related to deception, and I'm not really usually like a conspiracy theory person, but I just find this interesting, and then you can let me know if you think I'm tripping or whatever, because I just want ways for y'all to interact with me, obviously, as you can tell. So, my big cousin sent me a video the other day, and it was a video of this dude in the grocery store. He was going through the cleaning aisle, and he, what did he do? He was talking about coronavirus, and he came up on some Lysol, right? Okay. So, he was saying how on the Lysol can, it says that it kills the human coronavirus. So, at my job, I've said I'm a social worker, and it's all kinds of people that come to work sick, come through sick because they don't want to miss their appointments. So, I be Lysoling, Clorox wiping my area down often because I am not trying to get sick, okay? So, I decided to check my Lysol can that it's just right there on my desk, And when you look at the front, okay, it says it kills 99.9% of viruses, the coronavirus, okay? And then I flipped it around to the back because I'm like, he had a different can or whatever. His was purple. It was purple. It don't really say a scent or whatever. And mine is original scent and it's yellow. So I'm like, maybe he got a different Lysol, okay? But then when I looked at it, it says kills in 30 seconds, right? Human coronavirus. Okay. So my question and my thought is why don't they just And I'm not trying to be funny, okay? But why don't they just spray them folks with Lysol? Like, if Lysol kills the human coronavirus and other, viruses. My mama done told me about how I think it was my auntie, had the Hong Kong flu or whatever, and she just had her Lysol. That might not even be true, but that's what she been telling me since I was little. But I know when I've been sick in the house and I didn't want my kids to get it, spray that Lysol, and it does kill germs. So that's what I don't understand. And I know this isn't a new virus because I asked my friend, she's a nurse, and I was like, okay, so how do y'all feel about this? Because I know what the media's saying, and you know how they like to hype stuff up or whatever. But I'm like, how are you as someone in the medical field? What are they saying at the clinic that you work at and stuff like that? And so I just think this is deception. I just think it's not, because do you know anybody who got the coronavirus? You know what I mean? But I know the group of people that have the flu. And that's what she was saying, is that's what we really need to be working about. Bruh, that's what we really need to be worrying about is the flu. So I just feel like this is deception. The media are the Decepticons, okay? So, on that note, let's go ahead and take a quick break. So if you're thinking about doing a podcast, I highly suggest you use Anchor, and here's why. Now, first things first, it's free, and you can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. I'm talking dollar bills, y'all. Plus, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you to the major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a bunch of others, so that's one less thing you got to worry about. And they got all the tools you need to record and edit your podcast in one spot, and you can do all that from your phone or your computer. So, in my opinion, it's really the easiest way to make a podcast. Now, if that's what you're looking for and you're ready to jump on it, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. All right, we back. So, before I get off into what the Twitter had to say about this topic, let's talk about some more deception that a lot of us have seen recently. So I'm going to talk about the Netflix series You. And if you haven't seen it, spoiler like a mug, that show, the second season ended a minute ago before Power ended, and that was a minute ago. So I don't know what to tell you if, it is what it is. But let me tell you about my homeboy Joe, right? So season 1, just stick with me. Season 1, he falls in love with this girl or whatever. Her name was Beck. Blah, blah, blah. He's killing all the toxic people in her life and whatever. And then finally she finds, this is the super condensed version, obviously, because I want to get to my point. Finally, she finds out he's the one killing everyone. She tries to escape him, and then he puts her in a box. And all he wanted her to do was accept that he was doing all of this before, right? For her, I mean. That's all he wanted, and she couldn't accept it, so then he ended up killing her. Again, that is like the super duper condensed version. Now, let's hop on to season 2, and this is where I just feel like it's some bull. Joe, again, moves to Cali. He finds and falls in love with a girl named Love. Yes, her name was Love. And then people start, little things. People end up dying, and he killed somebody. But it was different this time. I kind of felt him because that dude was like low-key, high-key a pedophile. So, I don't know. But, he finds out that Love is a killer. Love is just like him. And all Love wanted was for him to understand that she was doing what she was doing for him. And do you know what? This dude didn't keep that same energy, and that's what makes me mad. In season 1, you feeling all sorry for him. You like, oh, dang, why couldn't she see that he was doing this for her, and blah, 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 blah. Then we come to season 2, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's trying. He's found love, no pun intended, and all this stuff. And then when he finds out love is about that same thing he's about, all that energy that he wanted Beck to have was gone. And here's my thing, the conclusion that I came to from that is that men cannot handle the same thing that they expect us to tolerate. I'm not a male basher at all. I know some super solid men, so it's not that, but it's just like, if, I don't know. Tell me your thoughts on that. That's my thoughts. I feel like he should have kept that same energy that he expected her to have. It was very deceiving for him to make it seem like, oh, I just want love and I just want to be accepted for me. And then why you couldn't do it? Deception. Joe is a Decepticon. Now let's go on to the Twitter. So, bruh, it's so stupid. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I be having little technical difficulties, and I get really irritated with that. Because I be having to deal with that mess at work where my computer just out of nowhere, like, it be going normal speed, and then out of nowhere, it just slows down. And it made me think that it was going to do right, and then it didn't. More deception. My computer is a Decepticon. Alright, so, 74 people voted. Thank y'all. 96% of them said it's a choice. Now let's get into the comments. Now most of these are podcasters that commented, so pay attention to their names. You might want to follow them on Twitter. If they specifically told me to promote their podcast, I'll say that instead of their Twitter. I'll say both. So Rat Salad Review said, it's a choice. I've never done it and never had the thought to do it. I know 2 people who are close to me who did it very recently too. They are miserable in their marriage, so they let it happen. Somebody who wants to be anonymous said, I just feel like something being a mistake doesn't negate it being a choice you made. It's just a choice you might be less likely to make again because you regret the outcome. And I don't know if they really want to be anonymous because they said it in thread, but maybe they just don't want the whole wide world to know they said this. And then the Grand Scheme of Things pod said it depends on your definition of choice and mistake. Now, if a mistake is a decision made that resulted in a regrettable choice, then it's a mistake. However, regardless of regret, a person who cheated made a conscious choice as long as a conscious decision could be made. Side note, sometimes I really wonder how and why I podcast, because I mess up on my words all the time, and I don't edit them out because I do it all the time. As y'all could tell, this is just who I am as a person. I do it in real life or whatever. So anyways, ABM Tommy repping Pretty Gang Radio podcast said 100% a choice. Can't choose to get drunk and accidentally do things you didn't want to. Drunk actions, words are sober desires. Lover of Romance, which if you follow her on Twitter, she has both a blog and a podcast, and both of the handles are on her Twitter page. Lover of Romance. Cheating is a choice. You are making the decision to be the betrayer in the relationship you are currently in and made a commitment to. It's true cowardice at its core. Rum Runners podcast. Well, they're Rum Runners Pod, but they are a podcast. Anyways, it's definitely a choice. The choice can be made as a mistake out of anger, misjudgment, altered state, but you still choose to make that mistake. You still think about the consequence of the action, and you still choose to risk hurting your partner. Fried Oreo, which, side note, okay, So, I just finished week 4 of keto, right? Your girl's down 16 pounds, which I had kind of started doing some other stuff in January, whatever. And I don't know why, because I didn't even eat Oreos like that when I was allowed to. But one day I smelled Oreos and I've been craving Oreos ever since. And I just thought I would share that with y'all. The only mistake, this is what Fried Oreo said, the only mistake is thinking it's not a choice. Shenanigans with Friends podcast, hilarious. I'd be cracking up. Said definitely a choice. Mistakes are forgetting to take the chicken out of the freezer, not falling into some badussy. I wonder if I'm going to have to change my settings. I wonder if I should change it to sensitive content. That's kind of why I switched up what she said. I don't know. Anyways, Miss Confidentiality podcast said, sometimes both, the wrong choice, which in turn can be considered a mistake. Routed Designs Wood Signs, which, side note, this dude, I'm assuming it's a dude, like, he is extremely talented. I'm very much into, like, wood and stuff like that, and he be making some super dope signs that if I had money, I would be buying all kinds of stuff, because he is extremely talented. He said mainly a choice, but also a mistake. You made the choice to put yourself in that situation, and the mistake of going through with it. You don't accidentally sleep with someone, you choose to, okay? Now let's talk, okay, I added the okay part, obviously, but let's talk entertainment. Said, trick question, LOL. I think it can be both. And then went on to say, I think it's a choice. One chooses to engage rather than take themselves out of the situation. At the same time, for many people, that engagement will turn out to be a huge mistake. One Last Thought podcast. To me, this can't be a mistake. It's already been a thought-out consideration in the back of that person's mind. It's a choice to act on an unfaithful opportunity. No mistake about it, just my opinion. The Cut podcast. Again, hilarious. They really be having me cracking up. He said 100% choice. Only mistake was only mistake was getting caught. Divorced AF podcast. They are also hilarious. Said both. And I guess they slipped in there because I'm not about to edit that because they didn't come back and give me their rationale. So, players mess up all the time. It is what it is. They're a pretty dope podcast, though. So maybe the Lord just wanted them to have that blessing, okay? And the people that I'm not giving shout-outs to because they didn't do whatever, they're not podcasters anyway. They probably don't even listen. And even if they do, they probably don't care. So whatever. Garrett Talks to Himself podcast. That's not what it says, but he is a podcast. As someone who was on the losing end, it's 100% a choice. As hard as it may be, a conversation beforehand and leaving it at that would be 100% better than going behind someone's back. Just imagine how you would feel if someone you thought loved you did that to you, okay? Raw and Uncut podcast said it's a mistake. A choice is doing it over and over. Sometimes you have to understand that you're always not going to be able to control your actions. Just like a fight, sometimes bad judgment takes over, and that makes it a mistake. Hood Geniuses Pod said, it's a choice, but could be a good choice sometimes. Cheating sometimes has a positive #smile. Mouse and Weens. Totally a choice, otherwise it would be pretty rapey. The choice would probably quickly be called a mistake right afterwards, though, or maybe not a mistake. Maybe they were glad they cheated and will continue on. And that was Joelle from Mouse and Weens. Pretty Lit Convos podcast said, forever a choice. Cheating is a choice that can turn into a mistake if you regret what you did. That regret has to be followed up by changed behavior. If not, you're choosing to be a cheater, and it wasn't a mistake if you continue to do it. The Quickie podcast said it's a choice. A person has the option to remove themselves from compromising situations. And he is totally a man, so I don't know why I chose that voice for him, but whatever. Jason. And it's funny because it's not my homeboy Jason, because a lot of y'all know I know a Jason. It's just some other dude named Jason. That said, this should not be a question. Action as a result of a choice cannot be a mistake. A mistake is a claim where misinformation leads to the decision. Does that person understand infidelity is a choice with consequences? The Reigning Opinions podcast said, no one is holding a gun to your head. It's a choice. And Infidel, last but not least on the Twitter, said it's a choice that becomes a mistake when followed through on. So shout out to everybody who participated on all social media sites. I really, really, really appreciate you. Remember, the common theme of cheating is what? Deception. So let me tell y'all one more story before I give y'all my thoughts, because I know y'all want to know. So I was scrolling the Twitter, because that's really mainly where I be. So follow me on Twitter. I follow back. You can follow me on Instagram too. I follow back. But I'm mainly on Twitter because that's the most interactive or whatever. And the links to my social media stuff are in the episode notes. If you go to that Linktree link, boom, click on Twitter, click on Instagram. You can go to the Facebook page, and I be on there, but I just use that to post, about episodes. I don't really do much with that. So, I was scrolling the Twitter, right, and I had seen this video. And in the video, I'm going to tell it to you how it happened in real life, okay? So there was this dude and this chick, and they were sitting by the pool, and what I gathered from the video is that she had found out something about him, that they were about to get married in 4 weeks, and she felt betrayed because she felt like, you should have told me this information from the get-go. Why wouldn't you keep it real with me? And the information is that he was bisexual. And he felt like, well, this is how I've done it. This is my method of how I communicate this. And no other female has ever tripped like that. And they weren't even on the level that you're on. And she's like, well, I feel like you were just playing me and you weren't keeping real. And he's like, no, I wasn't. And then it starts escalating. And he was like, see, that's why I don't F with B's like you. And then that's when it just went all the way to the left, because then she got up and she either slapped him in the face with her sandal, which for dramatic purposes, I hope that's what happened. But then again, I kind of feel like she just splashed a little water in his face or whatever, and they just going back and forth. She done took the ring off. He done threw it in the pool. He was like, F this ring. Okay? And then she walks off and whatever. So, seen this clip, and so I went to the comments because I wanted to know what it was from. And what I found out, it is from a Netflix series called Love is Blind. And anything I mentioned in here, I'm going to have all that in the episode notes. So, I went to Netflix and I did a little research. No, I did not watch a whole episode, but I watched enough just for me to understand the premise of the show. And so, there are 12 couples, and I totally made that number up, but they're not even couples at first, but there are 12, we'll just say, pairs of people. And the pairs of people spend 19 hours a day in these pods getting to know someone that they cannot see. 19 hours a day. I don't know how long, because it didn't say all that in the trailer. So we just gonna say, I'll even give them a month, but I doubt it was that, because it don't go like that. So we'll say 2 weeks for good measure. So 2 weeks, 19 hours a day, they all up in these pods, getting to know these people, whoop-de-woo, and you can't see this person until you propose to them, okay? Now, some people saw their fiance or whatever, and they was happy, and this was all on the trailer. Some people ran away dramatically, they made a mistake, and it was all bad. Don't know what happened because I didn't watch the whole episode. So, then I went to go find the episode with, I think their names are Damien and something. It's season 1, episode 4. So I don't remember what their names were. I think it was Damien and somebody. It was them, alright? And, how it went was, he was like, I've dated previously on Power. I miss Power. Hey, y'all gonna watch the spinoff? Let me know about that. I just want to talk to people. Like, oh no. I just go to work and come home and that's it. And I'm not like some lonely person. I have friends, but I like interacting with people. So, let me know if you're gonna watch Power or how you feel about how it ended or how you feel about, you know, all these little spin-offs and the Powerverse and all that. Let me know that if you want to. But anyways, he said that previously on Power, he used to date both sexes. So that's what he said. And when I first seen the clip, before I did the background information on the show, I thought to myself, why would you wait? I thought they had been dating for months, years, and I was like, why would you wait until you're engaged 4 weeks from the wedding to decide to come out with your previous sexual history, you know? And this isn't about me judging his sexual history. That don't got nothing to do with anything of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how soon in a relationship do you talk about your past? Do you talk about your past? I got a friend that said when because I don't want anyone to remotely figure out who it is. I have a friend that said that when they got married, their spouse shared like some information, but really didn't want to talk about their information, and they were okay with that. They didn't, you know, and that's something that I think about as I think about getting into a new relationship. Like, I mean, I'm not ashamed of anything, but it's like, do I really want to know about previous stuff? Are they going to want to know? You know what I mean? I've kind of been thinking about that stuff. But how soon is too soon? Because in my mind, I feel like if y'all was about to get married, that's definitely, like, maybe before you proposed at least, or maybe as you were thinking, like, man, I want to marry this girl, because in a general relationship, I would think you would talk about marriage first. So as you're having these talks, maybe that was a point where you could bust it out, you know? Because the way when I actually went to watch the clip from the episode, like, he was very emotional about it and, like, felt like he wanted to get it out. But then once I found out it's some fake-ality show, because it's not real if there's cameras there. You know what I mean? Like, it's what they want it to be. It's just like this podcast episode. It's real because it's really me and it's real material, but it's also edited so it sounds, disclosure or transparency, something. This is the third time that I've recorded this. I literally recorded this episode and I tweeted about it 2 other times, and I recorded it all the way through and I listened to it and I hated every single one of them. And if you hear this, that means I didn't hate this one, okay? Anywho, so then when I found out it was a fake-ality show, I'm like, okay, but when did he really have time? Like, how much time? I know they was in the pods for 19 hours a day or whatever, but for what time frame? Because I just feel like everybody has different views on how much of their past they want to share. Like I said, a friend of mine's spouse didn't really want to share much, and that person was okay with it. So it's like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, when is too soon? Do you feel like you have to share or whatever? But I still feel like even the fact that it's a fakeality show, before you propose to that woman, I feel like you should have disclosed that. Let her decide whether or not she wants to, because that's all she was saying is, you didn't let me decide whether or not I wanted to be a part of it. And kind of what he said in the clip, the one that was on Twitter, was, well, would you have continued on? You would have judged me. So if you felt it was something, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like he should have disclosed that, and it should have been a little bit more open. And so I feel like, oh boy, is a Decepticon. Okay. Now, the grand finale. My thoughts on cheating. So it's interesting because I've actually kind of been on both sides of this. The being on the cheating, so I've been cheated on and I've cheated before, and the cheating part came before the being cheated on part. And having been on both sides of this, I personally feel like it's a choice. I think that in my situation when I did it, if I had better boundaries and respected my partner, then that wouldn't have happened. But I didn't have good boundaries. And I mean, I used to smoke weed and I was high, and that wasn't even an excuse because I fully was aware of what I was doing. I just didn't care. And I think that in this particular case, you know, we got way too comfortable to where it shouldn't have never got there. And that's the whole piece with the boundaries. And I chose to keep entertaining, and I chose to kept doing whatever. Have I ever done that ever since that? No. Doesn't mean I don't have other ratchet things in my past, you know what I mean? But I believe that it's a choice. I believe that drugs and alcohol are not an excuse, because all they do is really, I guess I'll say it like, give you the freedom to do a desire that you kind of already had. Like when I was in my most ratchet of ratchet states, and I'm actually going to talk about that, I'll get into that in a second, but I was on that, you know what I'm saying? Like my mind frame was what it was. So me being drunk and me being high and me being, well, that was all I was not the reason I was doing what I was doing, because now I don't smoke or anything like that anymore, and I really don't even drink like that. But even when I do, I'm just not on that period. So it's like, that's not going to be something that's going to happen just because I'm intoxicated. So that's my thoughts. It is a choice. Now, before I let y'all go, on my next episode, what I want to talk about is kind of like, do you think that you can truly overcome your past? And I'm going to share some of my past in that. And so some people have a mindset of, you know, you're always going to be who you were. You never really change. You never really evolve. That's just always who you are. I feel how I feel, but I want y'all to interact with me. But how I'm going to do it is when I post about it, I don't want you to comment on the post. Message me. And the reason why is because I feel like then it won't be a whole show of me just reading everybody's responses. But if it is, hey, that's what's up. But I'm going to want y'all to DM me, text me, call me, whatever. Of course, you will remain anonymous if that's what you want. And I am not here to judge anyone at all, so you don't got to worry about that. I don't know what the title of the next episode is going to be, but that is the title. I mean, that's the topic for the next episode. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. Thoughts to ponder. But make sure y'all tune in this Thursday so that what is that date? Thursday, March 16th. So if you listen to it past then, that means it already aired. So make sure you check out Toxic Relationships Part 2. Yes, there is a Part 2, and there's actually going to be a Part 3. So make sure you tune in this Thursday. Holla at your girl. So first things first, shout out to Sniper T for the outro beat, and all his information can be found in the episode notes. But I'm not playing when I say I want y'all to interact with me, so here's a few ways you can do that, and the links to all these methods are in the episode notes as well. Alright, so you can leave me an audio message. And make sure you let me know if you want to remain anonymous, because you might just end up on a future episode. You can email me. Hey, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and I'll definitely follow you back. Go ahead and slide in the DMs, just not on no weird stuff. You can like the Facebook page, and the link on there goes to my email as well. And then what I'll do on Mondays, depending on how much y'all interact with your girls, I'll do a response episode, add a little razzle-dazzle of other stuff I think y'all might like. So, audio message, email, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook pages, whatever, just holla at your girl.